and we have to really escalate the noise we make so that we'll be heard.
Welcome to Gay USA. I'm Andy Hum.
I'm Ann Northrup, ready to hit the ground running for the second week of our 28-minute show.
And as established last week, according to the federal government, we are domestic terrorists.
I've never worn any label so proudly. So we're not going to do a long list of headlines. We're going to hit the pride flag stuff and our Christian government and
the great news from Hungary.
Yes.
And some good and bad news from the States.
Yep.
And even good news from Broadway.
And I have a little quiz for Andy at the end of the show.
Okay.
So if you can wait 28 minutes, we'll be there.
Okay.
But we'll start with the pride flag stuff at the Stonewall National Monument. A big shock. No one was expecting this.
That the federal government, the Trump administration, settled with the groups that were suing for the right to run the rainbow flag up a pole at the Stonewall National Monument.
2 months ago, without warning, the federal government took down the rainbow flag at the Stonewall National Monument. We all went out and demonstrated. We yelled at them.
And put it back up.
And
it wasn't removed.
Correct. But several groups, including the Gilbert Baker Foundation, creator of the flag, and a couple of others, sued to get it reinstated. And we thought, oh, this will never fly.
Well, I never said that. I mean, we're winning a lot of these suits against.
We also knew we were technically right.
Yeah, but no, I'm just saying, look what happened in Philadelphia. They sued to get the slavery exhibit at the presidential site up, and they won. People are winning these cases.
Well, the federal government had taken it down on the grounds that they have a law that says only the American flag, the Park Service flag, and maybe the MIA flag can fly.
PWA, MIA.
But there's also a clause there that says there may be an exception for flags that are relevant historically to the site.
Like the Confederate flag in some cases.
Which is up at Gettysburg.
Sure.
So we saw that clause and said, well, surely the rainbow flag is relevant historically at Stonewall. And so these groups...
Oh, wait a minute. It wasn't at the Stonewall Rebellion.
No, but as a symbol.
It's become a symbol for our community.
So these groups sued. And again, we woke up in shock the other day to find that the federal government had reached a settlement with the organizations that had sued.
I expected we'd win this. I mean, I don't know.
Let's put it this way. I didn't expect us to win it so fast.
Yes, they settled very fast.
They caved. It was a Trump taco.
So under the terms of this, the government's agreed. We're going to permanently fly the flag, but you got to put the American flag up. They all got to be the same size. American flag up top, then the rainbow flag, then the Park Service flag.
Well, the rainbow flag and it's the thing. And so the rainbow flag and the Park Service flag will be equal on the two arms of the
and not to confuse you, but we've already got a city flagpole just outside the perimeter, which is already doing this.
Yes. So we're happy about that.
But I asked the question of Lambda Legal, among the others that brought this, and said, where's the case to restore the Park Service's censoring of transgender people from the history of the Stonewall, which is a complete outrage, which occurred earlier than the flag being taken down.
Yep.
And I got no answer.
They are going to put up some kind of sign about the flag, but not about, you're right, about...
because transgender people do not exist, according to the Trump administration.
Well, they're doing everything they can to wipe them out. More about that momentarily. And just as a footnote, the Phil's Coffee chain, which is evidently around the country, West Coast, whatever.
It's very big in San Francisco.
So they had rainbow flags up in those coffee houses. The owner took them down.
They were bought by a hedge fund manager
who says we need homogeneity here, not homosexuality.
Is that
I
what
just
he said?
made that up. No, he said We need to be bland and appealing to everyone.
So are people boycotting now?
I don't think so yet.
No, they should.
Okay.
All right.
All right. So that's the flag. Now, shall we go to our religious leaders?
Well, yeah. I mean, first we have to go to our Lord and Savior Donald Christ. I mean, everybody has seen this, but it has made some MAGA supporters break from him.
A lot of them.
And
At
say,
first, I thought this was a painting, and I thought, how'd they do that so fast?
Riley Gaines, she was a huge fan of Trump. She's the turf swimmer who's always fighting trans women in transports.
Leah Thomas.
And she said that this is totally inappropriate. And he was asked about it, and he said, I don't listen to Riley Gaines. I'm not a big fan of Riley, actually. I mean,
funny, you were quoting her and bringing her to the White House and leaning on her for all
maybe
your
this will make him come out for trans rights.
I don't think so, but I think he will lose a lot of credibility.
Anything is possible. He's bipolar.
Yeah,
anything is possible. I don't mean to denigrate bipolar, but I mean, he obviously swings around on what his positions are. I mean,
but he really has been under attack for this image, so much so that he did finally take it down, and he doesn't do that very often. But all of this has morphed into this whole thing about the Pope and the attacks from the Pope, because the Pope had the temerity to say, Jesus believes in peace, not war. And that set him off.
And he also said, I'm not going to change anything because of Donald Trump. I mean, basically, right? I mean, he's by name.
He says, I'm not scared of the Trump administration.
Right.
But Trump said that the Pope is in favor of crime, which is a reference to immigrants, because his whole immigrant thing is about immigrants are the big troublemakers here.
And this is a religion that teaches that homosexuality is a mortal sin.
He could have gone to that, but he didn't.
No.
But this is immigrant equals crime to Trump. So if you're pro-immigrant, you are in favor of crime. So he's gone after the Pope.
And the Pope also wants Iran to have an atom bomb.
Because
or a nuclear weapon.
The Pope is bad on foreign policy. That's what he said. But what all this gets us to is the fact, the extent to which the Trump administration is deeply embedded with the Christian nationalists.
Paula White, his spiritual advisor, has called him Jesus.
And even his Catholic convert, J.D. Vance, is siding with the Christian nationalists.
Mind your own business, Holy Father.
Russell
That's
Vogt,
what he says. Oh my God.
Russell Vogt, who's the budget director, Heritage Foundation, Christian nationalist.
Head of implementing Project 2025.
Exactly.
And they've been very successful at it.
But they're just and Hegseth is all about Christian nationalism, and his spiritual advisor, who he brings into the Department of Defense to lecture the troops and the generals and everyone.
This is Doug Wilson there, the guy with the beard there. But Doug Wilson, I mean, this kind of stuff did not used to be tolerated. I mean, he says in our country there should be steeples and no minarets. Only the sound of church bells, no statues of Hindu deities. Adultery would carry legal penalties, and he wants to get rid of course, the Obergefell decision. He wants women not to be able to vote. He wants the anti-sodomy laws reinstated. I mean, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And where's the uproar?
Exactly, where's the uproar? This guy has the full support of Hegseth. They're not even holding him at arm's length. They are bringing him into the Defense Department, and this is what our troops are being taught.
It's what they're being subjected to.
Christian nationalism, which they don't want women to vote because they want one vote per family, and that will be only the male head of household.
Well, couldn't be a woman head of household, single moms.
No. They are not allowed to vote. Only men who are heads of households can vote.
There aren't that many of them.
Exactly. And they comprise a large part of Trump's support. So it's men who are supporting Trump mostly. Great imbalance.
He won white women.
Great. Still a gender imbalance. So the point is that that we are watching this takeover of the government by these Christian nationalists, and it's really important to know this and pay attention to this because these guys are relentless. They're not backing down. They're totally convinced of their rightness on all of this.
Listen, Trump was asked by the DoorDash grandma who delivered him his McDonald's, do you think men should play in women's sports? And she goes, I really don't have an opinion on that. I'm here about no tax on tips. You don't? I'll bet you do. I mean, he was like totally, he didn't know what to do. He didn't know what to do with his hands when she did it.
Did you read the thing about him and Queen Elizabeth?
Yes.
He kept badgering her about what she thought of various U.S. presidents. Who's your favorite? Who's your favorite? And she wouldn't answer, of course, because that would be stupid. So
and this is behind closed doors.
Yes.
And this
but
is
then
not
he
public.
goes out and says, Queen Elizabeth likes me the best.
Well, apparently Queen Elizabeth also did a little imitation of Melania after one of their
Oh, wait
meetings.
a second. Before we leave the religious right, the Pentagon in January held a meeting where they brought in people from the Vatican to yell at them for the Pope criticizing Trump.
Oh, yes.
And the Pope, to his credit, has canceled any visit to the U.S. while Trump is president. He's not coming here.
Absolutely.
He was invited for the 250th anniversary. He said, no way, I will not be there.
They got to get King Charles to not come as well, but
that would be
but the royal
delightful,
family
but,
is
they're not doing
they
that.
do what they're told. So yes, and this was also the week that Melania Trump gave her Epstein speech, which was a surprise, apparently, even to Trump.
Everything's a surprise these days.
And I think she did it, or was told to do it to distract from the war. And it became the actual top story on the news.
Well, sure, for about 5 minutes. She's running scared because her friend Amanda, who
from Brazil.
The Trumps have these friends, Paolo and Amanda. Paolo is an older guy who supposedly introduced Donald and Melania. Then he gets into a fight now with his companion, Amanda. And so he goes to his friend Trump and says, I want you to have ICE deport Amanda. And they do. They pick her up and they deport her.
And she's been in the
Brazil.
country for a long, long time.
Absolutely. This is clearly just a power move. So now she, unleashed and angry, is saying...
Using the B word.
Yes, and I am going to reveal everything about Trump and Melania. And so Melania went out there to try to forestall all that. I don't know, Epstein.
And then of course, if you're done with that, I mean, the other big thing Trump said this week is that he's promised immunity to everybody who works for the administration. Yeah. Anybody who comes within 200 feet of the Oval Office is going to get a pardon. So this is unleashing lawlessness, not just by him, but by everyone in the administration.
Yes. By the way, J.D. Vance is saying to the Pope, stick to matters of morality.
Yeah.
Isn't that what being anti-war is?
Yeah.
Isn't that a moral position?
Yeah. He says, I'm very careful when I talk about public policy.
Please.
No, you don't.
You're
you
insane.
craven. You compared your boss to Hitler, for God's sakes.
Well, here's something, a couple things. First of all, they're threatening to resurrect the draft in December.
For Barron?
Well, that's the big question. What about Barron? Men 18 to 25, no more self-registration. You have to, we will, they're saying Barron may get out of it because he's too tall. 6'9". And the people who did the Women's March 10 years ago are announcing a big major mobilization just before the 250th birthday celebration. So they're going to bring people all over the country into the streets to combat
Is Barron too tall to be like a cook or somebody who cleans the toilets?
I don't know. And Buttigieg and Kamala are saying they may run for president in 2028.
Oh, well. All right. with 50 other people. So Congress is has returned, and they're gonna move on a bill, Stop the Sexualization of Children Act. But they want to go after any sexually oriented material to include anything that involves gender dysphoria or transgenderism.
Their definition of sexually oriented is mentioning a trans person.
Yeah.
Trans people, by definition, with them are
and then they want to bar
oriented.
federal funds if you don't comply.
Yes, as they want to bar Medicaid and Medicare funding to hospitals that don't comply with their anti-trans
And look,
stuff.
I think we ought to, since the states tend to follow it, the red states tend to follow each other, we ought to be concerned that Tennessee is moving on the Charlie Kirk Act, which bans student walkouts and protects anti-LGBTQ activists. It says, like, if you don't want to have one of these people in your club, you can exclude them, even though it's, such discrimination may be illegal.
Tennessee has also enacted the Nuclear Family Month in June, where they will honor heterosexual couples only, because that is God's design. This is the state of Tennessee.
The hate state. Yeah. But we told you about the librarian there, Lou Ann James, who was dismissed from the library because she wouldn't move the gay books out of the children's section. And they started a fundraiser for her. That fundraiser is now up to $138,000. And I just, what did she say? Restricting access to these materials is a violation of the community's right to information, and it's, a clear act of viewpoint discrimination.
Okay, good news. Boise, Idaho. Again, the state outlawed pride flags in the city of Boise, which had been flying them. So the city of Boise said, all right, we're going to wrap rainbow colors around flagpoles. And that's what they've done. Everybody's being very creative. In Florida, where DeSantis tore up a rainbow crosswalk, they took the bricks and they put them in a park.
Yeah. And people are painting the sidewalks rainbow. Yeah. In Wisconsin, we told you that the more liberal candidate won the race for the statewide Supreme Court, but the attack ads were all based on anti-transgender stuff, and it didn't work. Chris Taylor won by 20 points, carrying 20 counties that Trump won in 2024. All this has to be very encouraging.
And it's encouraging that Children's Hospital in Minneapolis is reinstating gender-affirming care based on the court decision that said the HHS ban was illegal. And
in California, they're fighting back too. We told you that the Supreme Court kind of fudged on conversion therapy. Says it's okay to talk about it. So they're working on extending the statute of limitations for survivors of conversion therapy so that they can sue.
And Breonna Turner of the WNBA, has Las Vegas Aces, has spoken out in support of trans women versus what the IOC is about to do in testing genetically all women.
Do not use the names of women athletes to target, shame, or exclude transgender women, she wrote.
And a Colorado dad fears that this anti-trans in sports referendum on the Colorado ballot is going to hurt his cisgender daughters, because everybody's going to be genetically tested.
Right.
So people are waking up to this.
In Montana, the state Supreme Court in Montana upheld a district court order preventing the state from enforcing policies that bar trans people from obtaining accurate sex designations on their birth certificates and driver's licenses. Which is what they did in Kansas.
In Texas, the Texas Tech Chancellor has canceled all academic programs that are centered on LGBTQ. Again, erasure.
And in Nebraska, they're able to stop some of these anti-transgender bills because there is one Republican who is holding out, and that means that they can't clear a filibuster. One Republican.
Well, she the Republican woman who proposed the anti-trans bills attached one of them to a cannabis bill, and the author of the cannabis bill was so offended that he withdrew his bill rather than have it go on like that.
The Texas Education Board gave preliminary approval 9-1 to put Bible verses on the reading list, Bible verses. And but they also include in this list, and it's only Old and New Testament. It's not any other religion, you know. But they also have Ray Bradbury's Fahrenheit 451, which is about guys who go around burning books, and officially by the government. I mean, is that what they want to happen, or do they not understand that it's a
all right. We lost a great activist in Philadelphia this week, Joe DeMarco, 78, writer, community organizer, member of Gay Activists Alliance, helped found the William Way Community Center.
And also founded the Weekly Philadelphia Gazette, which ran from 1974 through 76. So a pioneer.
And
we will link to his full obit in our email. So sign up for our email, gayusatv.org. Go to it, and you'll get these links.
International news.
Well, the big news is Hungary, that Peter Magyar, who was a conservative and used to be in Orbán's party, beat him overwhelmingly. So his new party has a veto-proof majority, essentially, or a supermajority.
Yes.
So they can change all these constitutional amendments that Orbán implemented.
Well, Magyar has already spoken up in favor of gay and trans people, says no hatred, and has canceled state funding of the CPAC convention, which the Christian nationalists here were holding in Hungary for the last few years.
Orbán was the great hero to the Christian nationalists and to Steve Bannon and all those characters. And this also ends Russia's veto power over EU decisions, because Orbán was the problem there.
All right, hustling along. Mark Carney's party in Canada has taken the majority of the seats, so he has more power. And we have a new out gay foreign minister in Mexico, the equivalent of Secretary of State, Roberto Velasco Alvarez.
And just like Trump turned on Riley Gaines, he's turned on Giorgia Meloni because she doesn't like what he's doing to the Pope. And now he just says, well, I thought she was brave, but I was wrong. I was shocked by her. They're all abandoning you.
Yeah, he's not going to have any friends left.
Melania, all the M's.
and others. AIDS news?
And congratulations to Mark Carney. His party, the Liberal Party, now has an actual majority because people are defecting to his party because he's so good.
In Massachusetts, new HIV diagnoses are up 34% between 2022 and 2024. This caused AIDS organizations and advocates to go to the Massachusetts legislature and lobby every single member of the legislature to increase funding for HIV prevention and treatment.
I was a little wary of Doxy-Pep when it came along as a way you take it right after having sex that was suspect to maybe prevent an STI, but it's working. It's working overwhelmingly according to these studies and cutting syphilis cases, but the Trump administration is trying to thwart it.
Well, they've cut
they want
much
you dead.
Funding. Yeah.
All right.
Entertainment news.
I was encouraged to see that in the Malcolm in the Middle reboot, they've introduced a non-binary character played by Vaughn Murray, and it's because the producers have children who are queer, basically, and they want this reflected in the modern family, so to speak.
Okay. First episode of the last year of Hacks. I assume you did not watch it. There was a famous gay author on making a guest cameo appearance. Who might that be?
This
author. Is my quiz for you.
No, I have no idea.
Tony Kushner. First episode of Hacks.
At the Olivier Awards, which are the Tonys in London, Oh Mary by Cola Scola won for Best New Entertainment or Comedy Play. In accepting, Cole said, "I want to thank my amazing husband, who doesn't exist, but that's okay."
It was the Noel Coward Award.
And then I saw this movie, The Christophers, which is playing in theaters only now. Michaela Cole and Ian McKellen. It's really terrific. He's a cranky, bisexual, fading artist. She becomes his assistant, and therein lies a tale. It's directed by Steven Soderbergh. I highly recommend it, and I don't often. And they had closed captions at the theater for me.
Wow.
Oh, excuse me, open captions,
Yeah.
so that it's on the screen. I could read it.
Nice.
They only do it for some performance at the IFC.
Okay. And Titanic.
Well, I'm just going to say, because, we have a shorter show, but Bill saw Titanic.
We have 2 minutes and 20 seconds.
Well, it's a scrappy musical spoof on the movie Titanic, led by Celine Dion as survivor of the 1912 disaster.
She's not in the play.
Celine is the main character.
But
Oh, no, it's not Celine Dion. It's played by somebody. And by the way, it's not the one I saw with Bill. I'm getting a little fatoussed here. I did see Titanic. Anyway, that was a lot of fun. Becky Shaw at the Hayes is about the best play I've seen all year.
Really?
Oh, my God. And I really want to recommend Linda Emond, who plays the mother in this
she's
family.
great.
Mother in this family. But I mean, these people are some of them are kind of repellent. But it's all about relationships. It'll make you think of all your bad relationships, etc. And Cats, the Jellicle Ball is on Broadway. That's the one that Bill saw. And he says it's a loving, respectful, often moving homage to the 70s and 80s Harlem, New York City ballroom scene. Large cast. They're not playing Cats anymore. They're doing a ballroom version of this.
Oh, yeah. This is a total reworking of it and very popular. So
lots of audience participation.
Yeah.
All right. Time.
Once again, we have come up a minute short.
Well, no, we can tell you that in New York City, the city council has named trans activist Yaneri Cruz the first executive director of the LGBTQIA caucus. She's an Afro-Latina trans woman who previously worked with NITAG. So that's, progress.
All right. So we are still, of course, working on how to get the rhythm right of doing a shorter show and get all the information in. But you can go to our website, gayusatv.org, and sign up to get our once a week show note, and we'll have even more extras than we usually do. And I think we had a link to LGBTQ Nation, which has a lot of news there.
Oh, my God. We have all those listed on our website, by the way, all these
but
things.
I think they ought to be in the show notes.
Oh, okay. Whatever you...
We're negotiating, and we'll continue
Thanks for being with us
next week. Goodbye.